OBS Studio had an update. I'm just trying to make sure everything is functioning as it should be. And I'm not seeing some of the stuff happen that should be. And don't know why. This is being weird. Okay, there goes that one. Alright, there goes that one. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I requested tea. Okay, that was from yesterday. Okay. I think we're good. Maybe. Twitch is thinking about it. Alright. Let me pull up that. And I did that. Okay. Alright, so. It's Art Sunday. I know we're getting started a little bit later, but still early today. We're gonna be delayed a few extra minutes while the tea does its tea things. So how's everybody doing today? My voice is shit. Apparently now when I wake up for the first couple of hours, it's like snot city in my throat, and so my voice is just gonna be shitty. That's why I asked for tea. Apologies. Not a whole lot I can do about that. Although I'm just realizing now I don't have anywhere to put my tea bag. Maybe I can put it in the little trash can. We'll just have to rinse the trash can out later. That should be fine, probably. Probably use a rinsing anyway. Alright, so we are working on a needle felting Bob Ross project once again. So we've got, actually, hang on. Okay, the bots are in the channel. Okay, my bots. My bots I told to be there are there. For a second I didn't think they were there. So we're working on tutorial number 4, Winter Night, from the season 3 of Joy of Painting. And it's a little dark on there, so it's a little hard to see. Let me see. That light might help a tiny bit. It's a dark painting because, you know, it's a nighttime one. I'm doing the best that I can with it. So when we last left off, we had put in a few of our background trees. We had gotten some of our dark clouds in. This week we're going to start with some of our lighter background trees that have a bit more white encompassed in them, composed in them, whatever, made up of it. So he's got a couple like spoofy evergreen trees. I've already picked out the color that we're gonna use for that. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. I don't know how long this has been in here. I don't think it's been quite long enough. In my flamingo mug. Murmur. Mingo, mingo. The mingo will watch over us. Alright, so, yeah, so we're gonna advance the tutorial just a little bit. And always do this backwards. Always, every time. And then I sit there looking at it confused, like, that doesn't look like it's gonna fit. It's because you did it backwards. Alright, so we got our, ooh, don't break it. got our needle ready to go. We've got our quote-unquote canvas ready to go. And right now we're just waiting for the tea to be ready to go. So while we're waiting on the tea, where's my mouse? There's my mouse. Let's go ahead and we're gonna slowly advance this to see where he's putting these trees in. Now I have changed some of the colors from what he's doing, so do keep that in mind. That my colors aren't exactly the same as his. And I really hate that they don't do that many full head-on shots on this one. I don't know if it's something with the light reflecting off the black canvas or what. But for some reason, this episode, they were very like this angled view, which was kind of annoying. Like they only did the head-on view when they were doing like the close-up of it. So we've got a pretty substantial bushy guy. Hold on, Bob. So we've got a pretty substantial bushy guy here, which is kind of sitting kind of like about here-ish, I guess. And then the other one is kind of like hanging off the edge here. He like went all the way up, and he's just kind of, he came down a little bit, so he's gonna be, I think we're taking him all the way downtown here. He's a pretty big guy. Alright, I'm gonna advance this a little bit further and we'll see what he's doing now. He's back in that same color. Oh no, he went back to the black color. Alright, and he's just adding a little more sticky trees, and we already did those sticky trees last week ahead of time in that particular section. Oh, he did add that thick boy. We didn't add the thick boy yet. So we need to add the thick boy next to brushy tree on the edge here. He's gonna be like a little bit to here. I'm actually looking at the number of trees that we have in there, and we might need a few more, but that's okay. And then he started doing the snowy things to frame out the bottom of that. Alright, so let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. So that's about, is that the best shot we're gonna get? I guess we can leave it on that one. Excuse me, I'm not happy with that shot. This shot shows a better idea of where the bottoms of the trees come, excuse me, where the bottoms of the trees come in. But for some reason they're not doing a pulled out head-on shot until like the very end on the credits. Alright, this is probably tea. I can do this without ripping the tea bag. That's the next big question. This is, what is this? It's the key lime tea, I think. Oh, actually the tag would have told me. Yeah, the Metropolitan tea is the key lime tea. I think it's called a la lime or something like that.
Something like that.
It's not bad. It's not as good as the tea from Kermit's, but it's a close second. Since I can't get the tea from Kermit's right now. If we get back there, I'm getting 2 bags of it though. For some reason I couldn't order it, which made me sad. Where am I gonna put you, Mr. Spoon? Well, you know what, Mr. Spoon, for right now, you're just gonna sit over there. Okay, and that is still fucking hot, so we're gonna have to let that chill out for a minute. Alright, so since I can't really go with the color that he made, because he made this alizarin crimson and I think sap green gray color, black color, and then he added white to it to make a grayish color. I'm not, well, I can't really make that color with the fiber. That's not going to happen that way. It's not paint. But I have this color, and since we've already kind of changed the background a bit, and we're kind of just, you know, using his example, I'm gonna go with this color that we decided. Oh, that's right, I didn't have the sketch set up. I'm gonna go with this color from our sample sketch. Slide you up a little bit, friend. Alright, let me see. Where's our test sketchy? Test sketchy. There you are. So this was just our quick test sketch that we did a couple weeks ago. So I'm gonna use this what was this? This denim. Remember, this is dark denim and this is just denim. So this was from the Big Twist Value brand, Value line brand of yarn from Joann's. It's their house brand. I don't know if they still have this color. You use whatever color you want. I'm using acrylic yarn today mostly, or this project will probably be mostly all acrylic. Sorry, I was desperately trying to find where the hot liquid was and I wasn't having any luck, and I'm like, oh god, this is gonna hurt because I don't know where it is. Like, oh no. Alright, so we need to pull out a length here that I think will be sufficient for our center line, just so we can have a center line to help us here a little bit. So I guess we'll start with Big Boy in not really the middle, but the offset one. So his bottom was about, hang on, is his bottom, let me see. So his bottom's just slightly below these guys, right? See, everything looks crooked today. What?
You can buy that tee.
It wasn't on the website the last time I looked.
It wasn't on the website listed in a specific area, but when I did a Google search, it now has a listing on the website.
Son of a bitch. Isn't it expensive though? It's like,
it's $5.95.
For how many? Like how many tea bags?
24 count. So not too bad.
That's cheaper than this.
The delivery fee is kind of costly, but...
Oh. Well, at least I can get it now.
Yeah.
Because when we were looking on the website, we couldn't find it. I was searching all kinds of stuff on the website. I was searching tea, coffee. They didn't have any of it. Maybe they just recently brought it back or something, or maybe it wasn't classed under a searchable thing. Who really knows? But I'm glad they have it because I liked that one better. I mean, this will do as a substitute, but the Kermit's Key Lime tea is much better to me. I feel like that was a little bit stronger. Alright, so this guy, how far up does this guy go? Oh, he goes all the way. He's in all the way to the top, boy. Okay. Alright, so that's fine. He's a big boy. Alright, I'm a little extra smushed in here because my teacup It is very hot. It's kind of chilling out next to me. I was gonna get up earlier, but we had a long night, and then I had a headache, so my shoulder had flared up, and I was trying to sleep the headache off, and then Littles, when I had woken up and was thinking about getting up the first time, there was a cat curled up in my stomach, kinda, almost, just barely touching me, and I'm laying there trying to process life, and I'm looking at this cat, and I'm like, where the fuck did you come from? Because I didn't feel you climbing up on me. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, who is this? Because two of the cats look identical from certain angles. The only difference is the color of their feet. Mr. Peabody has white feet and a little bit, I think, of white maybe on his stomach, or there's a little bit more white somewhere, like either on his chest or his stomach, but Little is solid. The little kitty, what is it, tortoiseshell stripe thingy. And I'm laying there, I'm like, who is this? And I took my finger and I poked the back of the cat's head, and I heard this little meow, and I was like, oh, it's Little. Because her and Peabody have different responses to that. I was like, I have a little cat curled up in my stomach. This is new. So, since that was kind of new for her to do, I was like, well, shit, I want to encourage this behavior. She's not that big of cuddling. And then I, fell back asleep for a little bit, trying to sleep off my headache, which didn't fully work. I think it was making it worse. Did you put sugar in here?
Yeah. 2 spoons.
Oh, you know what? This cup's bigger.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't taste like there's any sugar in here at all, because there's more water.
Oh, sorry.
About 8 ounces on this cup is about halfway. So we probably could have let that tea bag go a little bit longer. Yeah, because that one just tastes like hot water today. But if I let it go too long, then it gets bitter. Alright, so let's start to put in our bits and things. So this one's gonna go straight up to the top here. We're gonna bring this back down this way. Now this might take a little bit of fussing to work on getting this right. Trying to find scissors. Sometimes I have to fight with those snips that came with the kit. If I don't get the stuff in there just so, it just doesn't want to cut it. So then this guy, we're gonna kind of bring back down this way. Now our guy is not quite as big. He's a little bit more pointed right at the top, and that's fine. You know, if your tree's not as big, then whatever. It's your tree. I can see already that our tree's turning crooked. Sorry for the Slurpees. There's the sugar. It must have just settled to the bottom. That's fine. Alright, so, like, if you have your strands of fluff a little too thin, they just kind of melt into the background too. So just something to kind of keep in mind here. Mr. Teacup, I am like terrified I'm gonna bump you a little too much. And you know, if you get some breaks in here, that's gonna be okay. It's gonna happen. And you know, if it does, it does. That's more than fine. Alright, so snippy snip of that. You alright?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Alright. Just kind of re-flattening out our carpet on the back here that we've got going. Okay. So now we'll work on getting our next bit of fluff. Now I didn't grab any white to put on here yet. I just didn't. I didn't really think about it. Wasn't sure if I wanted to start highlighting these yet or not. I mean, we could always highlight with a different color. Like, it doesn't have to be straight white. Like, it could be like a cream, but cream might actually be too bright, like too yellow in here. That's a hot mug. That's a very hot mug. This guy's kind of like a two-hander. He is a big boy. I'm right-handed, but I tend to hold my drinks in my left hand. My left hand likes or only knows how to hold things sometimes when it decides, you know, not to let go of things. But I realized this mug is for a right-handed holder because there's a little saying that you can only see on the inside rim if you hold it in this hand. And I can't tilt it. So it says different is beautiful on the inside on the edge. But you can only see it if you hold it in this hand. But this mug's very heavy. At least to my weak ass wrists. So, like, I'm holding it in this hand and it's like shaking a little bit. I was like, oh, don't spill. Alright. So I'm gonna see if I can just twist that tail up, because he had some loose indie guys there. And I'm probably doing this guy a little too straight. You really probably should be at a bit more of an angle, but we'll get him figured out as we go along here. Look like a loose piece of fuzz that came off the edge of the pad there. So even though it's not paint that we're dealing with necessarily in doing this, you can still kind of see motion a little bit in the way that some of the fiber is laying and stuff. So don't forget to try to pay attention to angles and stuff if you're trying to convey a certain direction on things. Well, like I said, this tree is probably going to need a bit of fussing with it, because we are going a bit slower and a bit thinner on our fiber lines. If you don't want your fiber that thin, then pick thicker chunks of fiber. I mean, that's fine. Whatever you're feeling. I mean, I'm by no means an expert. Far from it. Far from it. Alright, let's see here. If we can try to get a little something going there. That's not bad. Yep, fiber's gonna do what fiber's gonna do. You can try to encourage it to do what you want it to do, and sometimes you can get it pretty close. Oh, I just pulled on my earbud. That ear is still very sore. Alright. I would leave that particular earbud out, but the earbud on the opposite side isn't working so well, so my poor ear is just gonna have to kind of suffer along. Alright, at least that's more of a normal drinkable temperature. We don't have to really slurp it anymore. Oh, where did you stop that? Being attacked by fluff. What is happening? I still have a bunch of yarn I'm working on fluffing from Christmas gifts. Time has not been easy to come by. I am still editing that video, I promise. I've got one live... Is it one? I think I've got one live stream left to edit down on that one. And then I have to lay in the audio. So, audio might take me... Oh, I don't know how long the audio is going to take me. It depends on how long the project ends up being when it's all said and done. Right now it's about 2 hours and... what is it, like 18 minutes or something? I think 15 minutes, no, maybe 18 minutes at the moment. And I still have one live stream left to edit down. That live stream that's left to edit down, probably about 3.5 hours. So it might be close to 2 hours and 45 minutes when I'm done. Maybe. It depends on how much dicking around I did in that particular episode. And how much work we got done. It might have been an episode of getting work done because it was only 12 live streams, so sometimes they go 13 to get one of these guys done. Depends. It depends. So like when I go to edit this one down, I'm gonna have to take out all of the non-work. I've been trying to edit me, I've been trying to chop it where, like, before I flip it, so it's a little more, it looks a little more stop motion-y, but it's a little bit less bogged down with more stuff going on. So, I mean, hopefully that change in the editing will be okay for you guys. And then it puts all of the live streams into one video. And that'll be going up on the YouTube channel soon. Don't know if it's going to happen this week. It depends on how this week goes. And how much time I have to work on it. But we'll see. I mean, I did try to get 2 of the remaining 3 lives edited down this past week. And, I mean, they take me a couple of hours to get through the videos. It's not quick edits. That's for certain. Is it as grand as a bob tree? Hell no. But, you know, archery also takes a hell of a lot more time to put in. I was kind of thinking that this color was going to be a little bit darker, so now I'm like seeing it against everything else. I'm like, oh, that's bright. That's really bright for a background tree. But anything that I could potentially put in here that's not super dark would probably look that bright. So just because of the other colors and stuff going on in there. is why I tend to keep at least a little bit of pressure on there so we don't lose the whole strand right away. And I know we're not really playing off the center anymore, our center line, but it kind of helps to try to keep me in check. But, you know, the tree wasn't going to be straight anyway. Let's face it, it's me. I've accepted this. And I just keep trying to tell myself it's okay. It's okay if the tree is a little crooked. Because most trees out in the forest are not 100% straight, depending on the type of tree they are. I mean, those big ass redwoods might be pretty straight, like out in California, but and I'm sure there's probably some species of sorry, I felt like I'd fuzz on the edge of my lip. I've been wearing a mask while I've been felting, or while I've been fluffing lately, just because it's been sticking to me. I've been so staticky. I guess the air's been pretty dry, so it's all been like sticking to me and stuff, and so it seems like it still wants to be stuck to me. I guess there's worse things to have stuck to you than some yarn fluff, but it drives me crazy when it sticks to my face because it feels like spider web. And that's a level of upsetness that nobody needs to see, so. Although, it doesn't usually do that. I think maybe just because it's winter and it's dry. It's been doing it. But yeah, I still have quite a few yarns in the box to go. I've been trying to get at least 2 or 3 fluffed a week, but I've been trying to go to bed a little bit sooner because the mother-in-law's here. So husband's back in our room, in our bedroom. And that's where, you know, everything happens is in our bedroom because, you know, everything work related, relax related, you know, chilling on the computer, fluffing yarn, doing live streams, everything happens in our room because we don't have another room to do it. This house isn't that big. We don't have a quote-unquote office. I would love to have a separate office work / project room, but we don't, so probably for the best, because then I would want all of the things. So since I've been trying to, so husband goes to bed, back to the point, before me, because he gets up before me, and so I haven't been staying up trying to get work done as late as I normally do because I don't want to keep him up. So for those that are unfamiliar, when the mother-in-law's gone, he sleeps in her room because we have a cat. We have 2 cats that don't get along. And so we kind of have to keep them separated most of the time. Well, actually, pretty much all the time now. And so he'll spend the night in there with her so she doesn't get weird about nobody being in there, and it's not fair to isolate her like that. So he'll spend the night with her. She gets extra cuddles and stuff, and sometimes a couple times a week we'll put Cow in our kennel that we have a litter box set up in, and food and water and stuff, so he can just kind of chill and take a nap, and then we can let the other one out and roam for a little bit. But with her here, he's been able to sleep back in our room at night, because she's here to be in her room, so. That's why the live streams have been starting a little bit earlier instead of later. It's because I've actually been going to bed earlier. But last night and the night before, sleep didn't happen, so it didn't matter what time I went to bed. I was still very much awake. I was so tired when I was doing the podcast stuff last night. I was like, I don't even know if I've done everything. Because it seems like every couple of weeks the list of stuff that needs to be done gets longer. But, and we haven't had a show in a month, so I'm just like, I think I did everything. I guess we'll find out. And I'm just kind of like, I was so tired I couldn't even think anymore last night. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. It might be done. It might not be done. I guess we'll find out. I'm pretty sure I scheduled things to happen at the right times. Because I had a few extra things I had to do last night, so we'll see. We'll see. It's always rough coming back after a week or, well, after like 2 weeks off. 2 or more weeks, because then I'm like, shit. I think I've forgotten how to do the things. Now, I'm pretty sure I remembered how to do them, I just can't remember if I did all of them. That's the problem. Like, I have this checklist in my head that I have to run down every time. Because the one week, I almost forgot to put the YouTube video in the blog post, and then another week I almost forgot to put the MP3 in there, and I was like, oh shit. Oops doodles. Like, that's not helpful at all. Not at all. So, if somebody notices something odd like that on a podcast blog post, shoot me a message, please. Being like, something seems a little off. And I will go double check and I'll be like, oh, my bad. So I'm pretty sure we still have one person's, one Bloodthirsty's run under review at the moment. Because something seemed a little strange last night when we were doing the state of the challenges with it. When I was looking at the report. So, like, not strange like they did something wrong, like strange that on our end. Like on the WoW Challenges end. Like, we missed something, so I'm pretty sure they're fine. Well, as in, I don't believe they did anything wrong. So we need to, I have a review request in with Zaya, so, we'll see. Something just looked a little, how is that possible? That's not possible at that level, kind of questioning. And I'm just like, I think we missed something in our coding and something needs to be adjusted on our end, because I don't know. I don't see how this can be done. This doesn't look like it can be a thing. So, if that character was yours, just know we are looking a little bit further into it. Don't delete yet. Now, we might review it and see our coding error and fix that and still find that you still have the flag because of something else, which is possible. But for the one thing that I'm questioning, we are under review for that. And I didn't find it yet because I haven't run a normal character through yet, so I have not completed it yet. And we don't know if what's kicking back is a daily quest or like a daily world quest or a normal quest credit. Something looks off somewhere, but we'll see. So it is Sunday. How was everybody's weekend? Everybody have a decent weekend? Well, as decent as possible. I know it was a bit of a rough weekend for a few folks. Just with stuff going on. Our tree is shaping up there, slowly, but wow, that looks so bright on the camera. Wow. That looks like neon on the camera. Wow. It's not that bright, I promise. It just looks that bright because of all of the lights and shit. Holy cow. Well, definitely reflecting some moonlight off that snow-covered tree. I might not need to put any snow on that one. We might do a tiny bit of maybe some clumps here and there. But, not gonna be a huge amount or anything. So what did y'all do this weekend? I haven't done dick. I was on the podcast, and that was about it. On the podcast, did some farming and WoW. Mystified at the weirdness of people and how they post things on Auction House. And, can't understand why they keep tanking the market when they have so much. And they're posting all of their things at the same time instead of just posting smaller increments of it. I don't know where you came from. Or what you are, but kindly get off. Excuse me. Kindly. There's my skewer. My little tiny kitchen skewer. I use that to clean my brush. I use that to get in between the teeth on my fluff brush. To help get that guy cleaned out a bit when I go to swap colors. It helps a bit. I mean, I might not get every piece, but it keeps the majority of it from contaminating the next color coming through. Alright, so we can start to make these branches a little bit longer down in here. So I made a couple of stray pieces of fluff and stuff there. I've actually gotten some decent mileage out of this little tiny bit of fluff. Alright, let me tuck your tail under. Just kind of wrap that around. Although for the amount of time that we've been going so far today, I was kind of hoping to be a little bit further. But what can you do, right? We also didn't get started right away because we were making our tea. Should we name the mug? We haven't named the mug yet. Marvin's our Descalon flamingo and channel mascot. I don't know if we should name the mug. Or do I know what I would name it? Can't name it Pinky because that's the name of the sock puppet, so that name's taken. So Pinky is off the table. We could just name him Big Boy. Big Boy Bob. Alright. So, I mean, even though our tree's a little tiny bit lopsided, it kind of works in the respect of, you know, when you see like the heavy full pine trees that might be a little bit floppy, like they're not like your sturdy Christmas trees, but when they get the snow on them, they like weigh down and they like compress a bit from the weight of the snow if it's a wet snow. Can be kind of what's happening here. Alright, so I'm just kind of tucking our little wispy tail up there. And on this end too. Not because I necessarily want it thicker, but it keeps those little flyaway guys in check here. Just a little bit. Okay. Let's slowly keep going on this guy. I'm not going to do it with every single piece. It just kind of helps a bit when it's like the very, very end where all the little strands are a little uneven with each other. Alright, don't forget to come back in. If you snip, you get all your little ends try to tuck in just so they're not being loose and creating chaos up there. Because that could be a not so fun situation. Like, I don't think it'll pull out, but it'll be loose and fuzzy and might drive you crazy, unless you want it loose and fuzzy. Who am I to judge? But, you know. You do what you want. If you really want a fuzzy tree, who am I to stop you? Alright, again, you don't have to do this part. I just am. It just helps things lay a little bit flatter. You can kind of see our little forest there on the background. On the back there. Alright, we actually need a new piece of fluff and stuff. How about that? Now, I can tell you, because of how this is shaped, this feels like this was, or it looks like this is what came out of the brush, as opposed to those strands that we had that were a little more put together a few minutes ago. Those were like the strands I was holding in my hand. And there's nothing wrong with using the fluff off the brush. Don't throw that away. You can use that. It's more than fine. More than fine. Okay. Well, I don't mind that tea cold. I want to drink it while it's still warmish. Now that it's not burning our mouth. That's what my pizza's for later, is to burn my mouth. Every time. I'm so hungry when it comes time to dinner. I'm like, oh, I want to eat. And I never seem to let the pizza cool long enough. Cheese burn, man. It's a thing. It always sucks because it's like, oh, I want to eat the pizza while it's hot. I'm not a fan of cold pizza. I don't know how some people can do it. I'm just like, oh, but it's cold. Isn't that gross? Just can't do the cold pizza. Alright, so thank you guys that came out to watch the husband work on his part of our challenge zoo build for Planet Zoo yesterday. Appreciate that. I wasn't fully present at the very beginning because I was just waking up. Now, I'm gonna try to work on my part of the zoo a little bit at some point this week. We just have to find a time for when we can do that. Because our friend's work schedule got kind of messed up. Hi, little. What's up, littles? Where is you? Where did you go? Does Dad have you? Do you have little? Do you have little?
Yeah, she meowed and poked at me.
Oh, okay. I just don't want to get bitten in the elbow unexpectedly. She's got some sharp teeth. But, yeah, so I don't know what their plans are this week. But I think they're going to be trying to get in some extra guy time, as it were, because his new class schedule's starting shortly. And I don't know what their plans are for Tuesdays right now. I might try to squeeze it in maybe Wednesday afternoon. It depends. It really depends on what's happening with those two. But they tend to have more time if they wait till after dinner. What's the matter, little? Do you need foods? No. Or is this just you want attention? You just woke up from a nap on the bed. I swear. Our fur children. Hi, now you're coming over to me. Hi, what's up? Where is you? You tend to go to my right. Where are you? Oh, you're in the windowsill. Hi. What's up? What's the matter? Does you need crunches? Don't bite me. Oof. And she left. I don't know. I don't know what her deal is. So yeah, if they're not doing anything and I'm awake in time, might try to get something done. On that, because I kind of think I figured out how I want the setup to go on the first two habitats that I'm putting in. I keep wanting to call them exhibits, but I have to keep checking myself because they consider exhibits to be the little tiny boxes, like the terrarium type deals. So as to not confuse anyone. Alright, so I do apologize with the speed at which this tree is taking, or the slowness of this tree. However you want to look at it. But like I've said before, this is not a fast medium for me. Number one. Number two, I like to take my time with it. I don't like to rush on this because I want to stop and think about what I'm doing, where I'm placing, how I'm placing, you know, to try to get the shape that I'm looking for. And for me, it's not about rushing through to get something done, just to say we've got something done. I want to have something finished that I'm happy with. And I think so many people are just caught up in we need a finished product right now. But that's kind of why I go back and I edit down the live streams into one video product, shall we say. What's the matter, little? You're driving me nuts. Murr, what? Do you need foods? Or are you looking for someone to play? Because right now, it could be either.
Hey.
It really could be either. But, you know, I want to think about the shape of my tree and trying to get as close as I can to it. I mean, if you're happier speeding through stuff, then hey, that's great. That's awesome. And you do what works best for you. But I kind of use this as my slow down moment. Because everything is just going so fast. Everything in life is a chaotic mess right now. At least for us. So I'm just trying to take a moment. Breathe. And just focus on what we're doing. For just a few minutes. if at all possible. I mean, we all have the things that help slow us down, that we can take a few minutes with, whatever those might be. For some people, it might be having a cup of coffee and reading the newspaper or a magazine or a book. For others, it might be a crafty hobby or something. So whatever you find that you enjoy, that helps give you your, I guess we could call it your moment of zen, without sounding a little too cliche. Who cares if we sound cliche? Then take it, as long as you're not hurting yourself or hurting anyone else. Alright. Let's grab some more of our fluff and stuff. So, I mean, whether it's playing a video game for a couple of hours, just listening to music, whatever your thing is. There are a few projects that I want to work on, but I can't work on them yet. I've got a few other things I need to take care of before I can take the time to mess around with them. So we might have a needle felting video or two that aren't live streams, maybe, or maybe we'll do another painting soon that isn't live streams, but I need to get my yarn fluffed first, because, you know, my brain that doesn't like to focus on anything, I want to get that finished being fluffed, because the box is kind of in the way, so, and I don't want the cats to figure out there's string things in this box, and I've been lucky that they haven't climbed in there with the yarn yet to play with it. So far. Smooth that back down. Alright. Can't get over how bright that is on the camera. It's crazy. It's probably because I've got this light on it. Yeah, so I've got another LED light off to the right here. That's probably exaggerating how bright that is. Excuse me, sir. Thank you. Jeez. Like I said, the fluff's been a little sticky to me lately. A little clingy. So, I do have the window cracked open. Sorry guys, there's gonna be traffic noises. Forgot to warn you. So I definitely need to look into getting a new pair of headphones the next time I have some funding to get them, because these ones they're not cutting it. I know what kind I need to get. Well, yeah, I know what kind I need to get for now that I think I'm just gonna have to cope with. I'm gonna have to get like the really super lightweight old style like Walkman headphones. Sounds not great on them, but I can't do this style of earbud anymore because it keeps rubbing this one spot inside my ear, and it's so sore. And it always takes forever to heal because I have to keep putting my earbuds in. And I haven't had this happen for a couple of months. It seems to, I'll go a few months and then it'll happen. So I don't think I've really been wearing them necessarily all that much more lately, but didn't think I had been. I think our tea's cold by now. Okay, definitely room temperature. Definitely room temperature. But we can still finish. It's not ice cold, put it that way. Alright. I'm kind of nervous how bright this tree is. I wish I had one that was a little bit... What the hell was that?
I heard it too. Don't know what it was. It was pretty distant.
The lights blinked right before it happened.
Oh, maybe a transformer popped or something.
Because I was sitting here and like there was like a micro flash, and that's what I was like, what the hell was that? And then I heard a pop.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Huh?
Where'd you go?
I went to get a cat box in my mom's room and whatnot.
Oh, I was wondering.
Unfortunately, I need to wait for my mother to call me because I might have to go pick her up in her car. In my car.
Hold on, guys. I feel like something stupid's happening. Right. It was something stupid. Like, aggravatingly stupid. Okay. Sorry about that. I swear my mother-in-law is an agent of chaos. Who does shit on a whim without making plans or, you know, or talking to anybody else and just decides to do them. And what she just did has totally messed up our plans for the evening. Because now we can't have dinner at dinner time. Because of what she's done. So we might not be able to have dinner till like 9 or 10 o'clock at night now. Which is really effing aggravating. I'm not gonna lie. Because of the husband can't really eat and then go somewhere and, you know, be okay like anybody else. Because he has to have time for his system to settle, and we don't know what time she's gonna be done doing the thing that she just decided to do on a whim, and he, quote unquote, may have to go pick her up. That's the part that kills me, is may. Yay. And trust me, he's not happy about it either. I was wondering who he was talking to because I could hear him talking in the background. Alright, so I think I need to have a potty break, so you all should take a potty break. And I will be right back in just a few minutes. So sit tight. Hang on, where's my text at? Where is it? There it is. So I will be right back, you guys. Hang tight. Alright guys, sorry about that. I'm back. Had to drop off my mug before I break it. And had to check on the dog because he was licking a spot on him, silly. Oh, I can't get my stuff on because I had to put the spray on the dog. Alright. You know what? Oh. I'm gonna shut the window because I'm starting to get chilly. The sun's kind of going and that air is changing, so let's go ahead and we'll close that window. I feel like we're just not gonna get anything accomplished today. I mean, we've gotten a little bit done, but not as much as I wanted. Alright, so thanks for hanging in there with me. Apologies all around. So we'll get this guy worked into there. Alright, looks like it was a good time to close the window because that extra loud truck or SUV, whatever the heck it was, just went by. Alright, so what time is it even? Okay. Okay, so we'll get that tacked up into there. I don't always run it back down. Sometimes I do. Sometimes it's a little bit easier than doing the constant snippy snips, but sometimes it also doesn't look quite right to run it back up and down in every instance, so just kind of have to figure that out as you go and what you want it to do. I do feel like we're a little thin there, so we might start coming down into here and start trying to work on how wide our bottom's gonna be. And then figuring out if we need to put in a little more here or there. We do have a little bit of a open spot up in there, but I might fill that in just a little. We'll see. We will see what happens with that. Oh yeah, that tree's definitely crooked. Like I can see it now, although I was kind of seeing it from the beginning. Our trunk ended up a little crooked, so That's alright. Not really all that surprised, to be perfectly honest. Alright, so we'll get this guy starting to be worked in here. Now the bottom, I might just kind of keep going, weaving back and forth a little bit, because I mean it is the bottom, so it's going to be a bit thicker, a bit fuller. Here as we go. I kind of want it to be a little bit in front of this other tree here, so we might take that out just a little bit wider. If I think we can pull it off. So, speaking of pulling it off, just gonna reflatten the back side of what we got going on here. Alright, that little tail on there is a little all over the place, so see about getting him back in check there. So just kind of want this guy, I want to give the impression that he's a little bit more in front. Not terribly so. But we don't want to get too carried away. But a little bit. Alright. Oh, that piece. Decided to detach there. Alright, I think you're about to have a visitor. Sounds like he's trying to figure out how to get up there. Potentially. Alright, so this guy, we can kind of bring that down and fill in that gap there, I think. I don't know, they're being awfully...
What are you two up to? I thought I heard puppies getting ready to wiggle at each other out there for resting purposes. Either your mom's out and you're making dinner.
But they're being awfully roamy all of a sudden. Lots of tappy feet on the floor. And I couldn't tell if they were coming over to me or if they were inspecting their food bowls. There's water in that bowl. I put some in earlier. Or you did, one of us did. I think you did, because Peabut was and a brat. Alright. Oh, stay. So if you've got some thicker layers of fluff on here, you may find that as you're putting in more layers on top of it, that the upper layers are starting to indent and make like an impression. It'll happen. Sometimes when you smooth out the back, if you smooth out the back, it'll kind of take care of that, or it might fix itself over time as you're working on other parts and other fibers are being pulled in different directions and stuff. So I wouldn't stress it too much. It just seems to be something that can happen when you're doing this stuff. I know our tree looks a little extra ragged at the moment, but we're working on bringing them back. Remember, if you are snipping the extra, be very careful that you're just snipping the loose strands that you're holding up, and that you don't accidentally snip your project. Well, I don't think it's quite possible to put a hole in. I guess it would depend on how gung-ho you were snipping, and I guess how sharp your scissors are. But I mean, a tiny minor snip you could probably just felt back together, maybe with like another piece of felt on top. Just be careful. That you just don't get too carried away. Alright. I think we need maybe another couple of branches coming off this side here. Maybe one more in here. I think I do want to fill this gappy guy that we got happening. Right in through there. I think that was just a little more thin than I really wanted. And then I want to take care of... Actually, I think we need a couple more. Branchy guys coming up this way. I'm going to take this all the way up into here though. Did she change what she's doing for dinner?
Your mom?
Yeah, because I hear tinfoil.
No, the tinfoil was for your dad's meatballs.
Oh.
Because for some reason she has to oven them before she puts them in the sauce. So, oh, fuck.
I forgot that she was doing meatballs for him. Alright. I did hear his nebulizer running earlier, so that was good. It scared me for a minute because I was like, what the heck was that noise? And then I realized what it was. I was like, oh, okay. That makes like a loud vibrating noise. Can definitely tell it's some sort of machinery running. Alrighty. It's time to pop that guy up. Just kind of work on reflattening that back section. Oh wow. Look at all the blue fluff. Oh my goodness. And glitter. We still have glitter. I don't know how glitter got in the pad, but I have a feeling it's forever going to be there now. I mean, you're gonna get fluff stuck. If at least if you're using this type of pad, it just seems to attach itself. There's all kinds of fluff from multiple projects that we've worked on that have become embedded in there. All right. So now, let's get back to filling out our tree guy here. As best as we can. Alright. So he's coming along. Pretty decently. Is it the best tree we've ever done? Probably not. but that's okay. It's not a bad tree. Alright, so I want to see about... There's like 2 more spots, maybe 3, where I just want to fill this out a little bit more. Just because I'm not quite a fan of how thin it is, but now's the time to make adjustments if you want to do them. So we'll get that put into there. See, that was a good clean cut. For some reason, those snips and I don't know if I ended up with a dull pair or what. Or if you just have to hit them just right. Alright, so this guy, I'm just gonna kind of loop back down. Oh, we've got like quite the thin spot. Trying to happen there in the middle. So let's see what we can do about that. Doesn't have to be perfect, I just want it to be a little bit more filled in there, that's all. And then there's one more spot up above that I would like to be, well, you know, maybe we'll let that be. Like Bob said, maybe it's a spot for our birds to fly into. Maybe that was a bare spot on the tree. Maybe that branch broke off in the snow. Maybe we'll just kind of let that be. I do need to grab the white fluff here real quick, so give me 1 second. Okay. See where the cats kept trying to chew on my fluff bag. That's another reason why I had to move them from where they were. Everything they're not supposed to chew on. Although they've been good about like the computer wires and stuff. For the most part. Alright, now we're not gonna do a whole lot of this. But just in a couple of places. Here and there. don't want it to be too crazy. Alright, so I'm sure there's probably a little bit over here, and that was probably way too thick. I need to do a little extra tapping over there. Let me separate this out a little bit more. I don't want it everywhere. I only want it in some spots. So the tree's gonna look a little bit frosty with this lighter color. I was originally thinking of doing the slate green in these trees, but the slate green was just a little too bright, I think, for nighttime. But I just wasn't too certain about that. Alright, so I kind of have to. The camera's picking up the snow better than I can see it, ironically. It's not going to be everywhere. Just some little tiny dustings here and there where it's exceptionally thick, where you can see clumps of it. So I'm trying to make this as thin as I think I can get away with it still being a little bit visible without it completely just melting into the background. I've got another little guy here. Just gonna drop that line into there. I'm gonna flatten this guy down just a little bit on the back. This is what the reverse is looking like. See all the fiber that we've stabbed through so far. This wispy tail is gonna be trouble. So I'm just gonna see if we can get that a little more under control here. snip that. And probably work my way up a little bit further. So I didn't realize it was quite so high up there. Now, if you ever see me scraping the fiber, I'm not pushing in and pulling because that will snap the needle. Just on the surface, barely scraping it. Just to try to move it to where I want it to be before I start completely stabbing through. So let's see, this might be a little bit thicker than I really want it to be, but let's see how it plays out here. So since this is like snow dusted branches and stuff, we don't have to be necessarily dead on to a another tree, like another tree branch or something. We can kind of just lay it in there. Do I need to stop early so you can get some kind of time in with Tyler?
No.
Okay, I didn't know.
Appreciate the thought.
I didn't know what you two had originally planned today. If you needed to bump it up, you needed to bump it up.
Yeah, no.
Alright. Oh, goodness. Alright. Worst part is I am starving. But now we have to not have dinner at the time we were originally planning. He's telling me I can eat without him, but we were having joint dinner. And it's going to be even more of a fiasco if I eat without him. Okay, so that was actually probably a little too thin there on that one. So yeah, so since this is just kind of snow laying in here, it doesn't have to be real precise. I mean, at least try to get it where you would think a branch would be sitting. Like, don't put it like sideways, like straight across the tree horizontally or something, but since we've just got like our branches in here, it can be a little willy-nilly. A little bit. Maybe a little willy and not full willy-nilly. You know what I mean? A bit controlled chaos. Snippy snips there, and it's not just the tip of those snips, it's wherever I hit the blade on them. Sometimes I hit the angle just right and it cuts beautifully, and other times I just don't know what's going on, and it just doesn't want to cut. Oh, ow. That was unexpected. That felt really, really loud. That sounded really, really loud. But you guys didn't hear it. That was an internal sound. Shit. I leaned just away that my vertebrae in my back popped twice. Like, kind of one after another. It kind of sounded like when you crack your knuckles. But like slowly, it was like ba-doop, and then ba-doop. Oh, that was a weird sensation. Damn. I don't know if that was good, bad, or indifferent. I guess I'll find out soon. It wasn't an immediate bad, I don't think. It could potentially be a slow building bad, though. I hope not. We'll see. Dang. Alright. See about getting some more snow dropped into here. Sorry, I'm doing the double snip there because I wasn't sure if I got all the fluffies the first time. It was just easier to do an extra snip in there. Alrighty. So I'm gonna put a little bit more snow kind of hanging out near the bottom, because maybe the wind knocked it off of the upper branches. And pushed it down further. So, what happened?
Your mother's asking me to look at something outside.
What? Hold on. We might have figured out what the pop was. Okay. My mom wasn't sure if something was on fire across the street, because she could see smoke out there, but she's like, I don't hear any fire engines. Well, it might be alright. There's plenty of people that live over there. And a couple of people over that way are real big on their outdoor fires. Or somebody could be smoking meat and had a flare up. And it got extra smoky. That is also possible, because our neighbor smokes meat sometimes. And our entire backyard will look like a Seattle fog bank sometimes because of all the smoke. So very possible that that's what's going on. So many interruptions today, you guys. I'm sorry. Welcome to the chaos that is my life. Just be glad that you guys only have to deal with it for a little while. You get to leave. I don't get that luxury. Unfortunately. What is this? What is this? That might be a cardboard fuzzy from the templates that we made that's still hanging around. I said this desk is a mess. I need like a tiny little desk-sized dustbuster. Come through and suck up all of the dust bunnies and extra fuzzy bits and the glitter, all of the things. Well, those little desk backs. I'm sure if somebody had a chimney fire, they would know it by now. Alrighty. Okay, just a couple more little snowy spots here down at the bottom. And we should be good to start putting in our other tree. It's probably somebody smoking meat.
It could be.
Because neighbor dude does it sometimes, and you can't see your hand in front of your face out back sometimes when he has a flare up. And it wasn't like black smoke or anything, it was kind of wispy. So maybe one more right into here. Alright, I'll get that tapped into there. Okay, so let me put that. I'll put all this back in its bag so it doesn't wander. Our lovely little cone tree that we got going on there. It looks a lot better on the front. very bright though, but maybe that'll tone down. Yeah, so once you get the other lighting toned down off of it, it's not quite so bright. It's just I've got quite a few lights on here. Alright, so we're gonna get some more of our denim. Denim, denim, denim. Denim, denim, denim. Alright. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Alright, so this guy, wait, where's that? Hang on, let's advance this again. Oh, I need to be on the right screen in order for that key to work. Alright, where does this sit? Okay, so that sits about there. About here. Actually, it kind of curves a little bit. So this guy... Hang on, I need to advance this a little bit further and see where he's putting that in. Okay. Okay, so we're still kind of up here a bit. So here's what I'm thinking. This guy's a big boy. He's a big boy. So you come down, not all the way, but just trying to find the base. Here. Oh, I didn't want to go in there. Crunchy spot in the pad, I guess. Alright, so this is just gonna kind of come up this way. Now I am gonna snip this guy. We're doing this guy a little bit backwards. I just want to get in our outer edges first, because of how this guy is kind of sitting here. Alright, so we got this guy. Now I'm gonna flip him over and kind of double back a little bit on that section. Again, I'm just working on getting the outer edges. If you hear that was a loud truck. If you hear an extra tapping noise, that might be my microphone or my earbud wire hitting the desk because of how I am currently situated. Alrighty. So we might have a slightly bigger gap here than I had planned on. And, I mean, we can either go back in and add a couple more of our distant trees. But, you know, fair enough. That is possible. If that's what we want to choose to do. Or we can just be like, screw it. We just have a bit of an extra gap there. Sorry, I wasn't sure what angle I wanted that to be. Sitting on all of a sudden, I was like, Alright. Can I pop that guy up just a little bit? Well, not a little bit, but as gently as I can. I'll just lay that fluff back down a little. Oh, you go over there. Okay. So now this guy. Let's get his little unruly wispy tails tucked in. Okay, I don't know why I'm like right on the edge of the mat. I don't need to be. Gonna be okay. Now see, this is that same color blue and it doesn't look quite as bright, but we do have that snow catching there pretty nicely. Part of my brain is still kind of screaming it's too bright, but we're gonna have some other stuff pulled in here, and he does have some clean white that was on like higher up in that brush that got worked into the bristles that did come off when he was tapping that in, or you know, putting that tree in there. So I'm not gonna be too, I'm gonna try not to be too fussed over it. It's in there now, so it's just gonna be the way it's gonna be, but I don't think it'll be quite as standing out once we work on getting everybody else worked in here. Oh, we're gonna lose a good deal of our cloud here. Sorry, Mr. Cloud. It was fun while it lasted. But that's the way it goes sometimes. Alright, so let me tuck you up there. Alrighty. Work on getting this guy. I think we can have some some parts of it flaring out here off the edge. So that's good. Not all of it's gonna be fully in line with everything else. Alright, so this guy I'm gonna take down into here. We've almost got this outer edge figured out of this guy. Just, you know, I wanted to figure out how wide we needed to be before we really got down to it. Because he is a good sized tree. He really is. He wasn't messing around with this guy. Alright. Let's work on getting... Oh. I went a little too high there, I think. Have to be careful I didn't cut into that gray section. And if you're worried about snipping too close to your project, just snip it a little bit higher. Just means it's a little more that you're going to have to work in for loose ends that are hanging about. That's all. All right. Get that put into there. Okay. So now I'm feeling pretty good about coming back in and adding in the rest of our branchy guys here. Because the center of this tree is like right on the edge or just off of it. He's a pretty robust guy. He just kind of went all sorts of crazy when he was growing. This tree was like a branch here, a branch there. Everywhere the branches. He's rather fluffy in the painting there. All right. So this tree is going to be a little bit easier, I think, than the other ones, because we can go a little bit further, right, without having to snip quite so often. And he can be a little bit thicker too, because he's a little bit closer. So, you know, we got that going. I still want to try to follow some sort of angle for the way the tree branches would be laying. Kind of, because I mean, even though it's not paint, right? And you don't necessarily have brush strokes that you're working with, you still have your fiber and your strands of it, and you can still kind of convey direction at times with the angles that they're laid in at. If you actually take the time to look at it. I just want to be, oh, I'm getting that edge a little bit wonky. I have to be careful. I'm stretching that edge out a little bit. Didn't want to do that. I'll have to pop that up from a different direction. Don't think it's a huge deal yet, but I mean, we can always like trim this excess off of here, so shouldn't be too much of an issue. Alrighty. So we'll get this worked into here. Okay, so we haven't gotten a shit ton done today, but I'm okay with where we're at currently, I think. Like, I wasn't really coming into this today with too many expectations of what we were gonna get done. Because, you know, stuff happens. Or at least it tends to. And, you know, sometimes things just take longer to get through. But so far, I think we're doing pretty okay. Let's see here, that got a little bit thin in that spot, so this might end up separating out as we go. We'll see. So we're just kind of, the bottom can be a little uneven here. I mean, that's fine. Again, not a tremendously huge deal, since it is just a tree. That one did separate, probably because we didn't have it as tightly sneaked up there before we started extending. All right. This guy worked into here. So I'm not trying to do this too super solid. I mean, it's looking a little solid at the moment, but at the same time also kind of not. We've got a couple little breaky doos in there. Oh, I said I was gonna stop pulling on that side. Dang it. It's just because it's like right there and it's more convenient. So I need to stop doing that. At least for a little while. We're stretching this side out. Alright. I'm starting to get a little too straight up and down with that guy, because most of him is still like, it's kind of like a 3/4 view on this tree, kind of. Like, there's still a part of him that's coming off the edge here. I want to make sure that we're not trying to have him start going the other way too soon. That's not what I was trying to do here. So this little guy, I'm just going to run down the edge. Okay. I feel like I'm still smelling the tea tree oil that we sprayed on the dog. Oh no, I know what that is. Never mind. Okay. Alright. Getting that bit. Oh, that guy's a little long. I think to drape him back down the other way, so I'm just gonna snippy poo. Just kind of start working this guy in here. Okay. Alright, so yeah, so we're kind of bringing that back in line. As long as this edge doesn't get too crazy, then we're okay. Alright. Fluff is going crazy over here. Something just moved to my side. I'm not quite sure what it was. Alright. So let's work on getting this guy tapped into here. I am trying to make sure that I fill in our edge here, since I had let that get a little uneven with the blue when we were putting that on the dark blue. Just thinning out that bottom section there. He was a little thicker than I wanted that to be. Alright, now this guy, I feel like we can probably take him down the edge here. Just kind of start working him in just a little bit, because you can see we're pulling our navy fiber or a dark denim fiber. Kind of off of the edge there as we're stabbing through with the lighter blue. And that's okay. I mean, it happens. This stuff can get moved around a little bit. I mean, you can't really rip it out without a huge problem, but you can kind of slide it around a little. But we'll take care of that as we get this other color put in here. Not a huge deal, and I don't have a whole lot of pressure or tension, shall we say, on this piece here. I'm just gently kind of holding it out of the way. A, so we can see what we're doing, and B, so it doesn't get too bunched up. In here with what we're trying to do. I'm just trying to fill in that little bit of the gap, make sure we're right up on our pen line here. And then any of these loose bits, I'm just kind of swinging back up into the right color area. Make sure that's looking pretty good into there. Alright. So again, our edges are probably going to get a little misshapen here as we go, but we can always clean them up a bit when we trim off the border here. If you want to keep the border, then you know, you might just have a wonky edge, or maybe you'll be better at keeping your edge straight than I am. Whatever the case may be. So if I'm not mistaken, yeah, this tree's got a little bit of snow and spots on it too. Now we probably went a little bit heavier with the snow on our other tree, but you know, that's fine. It's okay. Our area is just a little extra snowy, that's all. Sometimes it's easier to do this without the handle being held. Probably safer to do it without the handle in our hand as well, so just kind of work on getting that guy put into there. So he's still a little off, but we brought him back a little bit. Now you can use longer pieces of fiber than what I'm grabbing. This is the size it decided it wanted to be when I pulled it from the rest of the group. So I'm just gonna kind of go with it. He's actually not too bad, because we're gently stretching him out here to fit what we need him to do. So my mat doesn't sit flat anymore. It's seen some things, so it's seen a lot of projects. We've had it in service about a year now, and it's probably mostly from me not pulling up very often and projects deciding that they were gonna pretty much attach themselves to the mat, and then me having to really gently put some elbow grease into gently but forcefully pulling the project off the mat. So like I said, you probably won't quite have that kind of issue on the foam mats, but I don't know, because the foam noise drives me crazy. This is a lot gentler for my sensory needs. Just a bit easier for me to handle. Alright. So at the moment, I don't know how late we're going. We'll see what happens. As we go along here. So I've got a little bit of some breaks in here. I might fill in that one spot. That one spot's a little thin for my tastes, I think. But we'll see. I mean, I could fill it in with a little bit of snow, but I don't know. It's a little thin in that spot. It's a little tiny bit bugging me. Maybe if we just take a little guy here. We could try to get that worked in. Okay. Next bit of fluff and stuff, so it's coming along. Slowly. bit by bit here. Alright, I'm gonna flip that guy back over on himself here. Just because that seemed like the better option at that point. There wasn't too much of him left there. Alrighty. I'm just pulling. Oh, that decided to pull off entirely. That's fine. Not the end of the world. He doesn't have to be a specific length to be usable. We are doing okay. I know right now this tree looks like a hot mess, but in the grand scheme of it, it's actually not doing too bad. Not really. So, get this guy worked into here, and I actually do kind of like this color for our frosty snow-colored tree because he has a slight variant to him. This particular denim color seems to have the slightest hint of either some really, really light blue fibers or possibly some white fibers mixed in with it to get that kind of like denim jean kind of feel to it. So it kind of works a bit, giving us a little bit more shadow play and stuff. It's not a full-on variegated yarn. I haven't tried to fluff a variegated, so I don't know what that would look like when you try to felt with it. It might just be like blobs of solid color. I don't know how that would look. I kind of have a slightly variegated yarn, but it's like dark reds and browns, so I don't know if that's gonna, you know, work for a proper test. I might test a few strands of it and just kind of see what it might give us. I'm trying not to pull this edge as much as I want to. I'm trying to like lift up here and stuff, so very hard. I keep wanting to go back to that same spot. Okay. And a quiet Sunday. I guess there's all kinds of sporty things happening, or all sorts of other stuff going on out in the world. That's all right, because we also archive the live streams over on the YouTube channel. And that kind of just makes things go a little bit easier. So that way if you have to duck out in the middle, in a couple of days it'll be up over there. If you want to try to go back and see what you might have missed. And the YouTube channel is the same name as this channel. So if you're liking what we're doing here, feel free to like and subscribe over there. Hell, feel free to follow here. Following here is free, and subscribing is actually free on YouTube. Subscribing here isn't. But that subscribe button over there is like the follow button here. I know it might be a little confusing at times when I'm talking about multiple platforms, but we do some things over there. I haven't live streamed over there though. We have only really live streamed here. Okay. Just kind of still poking away at our tree. Getting all of our branches put in. So like I said, I'm not the fastest at this. There's probably people that are a lot faster, but then again, people might also not be doing as elaborate, layered, involved projects as I tend to try to do, so they might be a little bit more simplistic in their designs, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm probably the odd one trying to do stuff that's quite so elaborate. Sorry, there was a shadow on my hand that looked like a bruise. I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? But I think it's just a shadow. It would seem. Alrighty. So yeah, he's starting to fill in pretty good here, take shape. We're doing it. Okay. Alright, we actually need to pull some more fluff from our bag here. Okay. So let's see about getting this bit put into here. Kind of as best as we can. Alright, now I probably could just flip that guy back around, but I think we'll just snip him this time. It was a little bit long to be doing the flippy flips with. Alrighty. Try to gently pull it up because our edge still looks a little disjointed here, but like right in here. Maybe we came off of the pen line a little too much, or oh no, there's the pen line right there. I think we just stretched it when we were pulling up a few too many times from that same spot. It won't be the first time we've had a non-even edge. What can you do? At least our edge is like right here and not like on the edge. So I'll take it. That's more than fine. Okay, let me see. Where's my mouse? There's my mouse. Okay. So let's work on getting this guy figured out right in here. Oh, thank you for the follow, Nick. Appreciate that. Lurkers are more than welcome. I have plenty. So don't feel obligated to be chatty if you don't want to. Alright, so this one's probably one of the more involved ones I think we've done so far in this Joy of Painting series that we've been following. Or at least that's what it kind of feels like. Like the first couple felt pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Because we've done the first three. We've completed those three before holiday and Christmas gift creation season kicked off, and I had to put a pause in this project while I worked on those. There just wasn't enough time. So the other 3 tutorials that we've done are on the YouTube channel. They should be on the Nisey Needle Felts playlist on the channel. And that should be all of our needle felting projects that we've worked on so far. A couple of them might be mixed media a little bit with the needle felting and some sewing and stuff. But we've got that going on. Now the first 2 tutorials that we followed of this, we had multiple live streams to complete them, so I took those live streams and edited the first tutorials down into not necessarily a speed paint, kind of like how, you know, people do the time lapses of them painting stuff, but I call it a speed felt. One of them was really long because I didn't, I wasn't as picky when I was doing the editing, but it was super, super long, and even edited down, it was super long. So, I've managed to get those times on these speed videos shortened a little bit, changing the editing style a little and being a bit more picky in my cuts. Hang on, Momo, give me 1 minute. You sure? Mm-hmm. Alright. Sorry, doggy wanted to go potty. And he's been a pretty good boy today, so. He hasn't been too demanding on needs that I've been able to tell. Alright. But we've got those 2 done. I'm still working on number 3, because just as we finished the 3rd one, the holiday season kicked off, and I had a little bit of time to work on the editing on the 3rd one, but then time got busy and I lost that extra time to work on it. I am still working on it. I've got 1 live stream session left to edit down, like I said earlier. So maybe another week or 2 and I'll have that one completed. I mean, what I probably should have been doing was downloading the copy of the project's video session, or sessions now that we're doing 2 a week, done. Like once I was done for the day, I probably should have downloaded it and then just edited, chopped it down that week. I just kept saving the project instead of waiting to do it all at once. Might be a little bit easier. I don't know. It depends. Time is tough to find extra of it. A good amount of the time. So let's see. I keep trying to line this up on the edge of the mat and I don't need to. So let's see what we can do here. With that. Now I don't know if I'm going to be finishing this tree today. I would kind of like to at least get his base color in. But we've got a few other things going on here, so don't know what's going on with that currently. Kind of doing a full once over here. Now it's okay if some of this cloud color peeks in between the broken, not really broken, but between the thinner spots on the branches, because that'll just kind of add to a bit of the airy feeling of our tree. Well, this boy is pretty solid. But there's not a whole lot getting through there on this particular guy. But what's the matter, Momo?
What?
Is Peanut bothering you? Leave the dog alone. They look like they were having a staring match, and he's above him, so...
Why are you all upset at P-Butt? He's just sitting there.
Sometimes he gets upset at P-Butt. P-Butt's
I've never seen him grr so vigorously at P-Butt.
Oh, I have. I have. P-Butt's the new Gus to them, because he'll just randomly swing at them, and they get upset about it.
Momo, what's the matter? What? He's just looking at you.
He's mad.
What?
He doesn't want him looming over him.
What are you worrying about? What? 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 You want cuddles?
He's probably mad because dinner's late, is what it is.
I can't help that.
No, and I can't help that either.
Look out, P-Butt. Look out. Look out, beep.
But that's probably what it's about.
Come on, Momo. Come on. Momo. Come on. Hi.
He thinks we're holding out on him.
Oh,
He has dog food sitting right next to him, by the way. Something about him and P-Butt. Although Zuzu's not too fond of P-Butt either. P-Butt's a cat.
They ain't got nothing either. You gotta be patient.
And Momo's a tiny little dog. Well, he's not super tiny. He's about maybe between 15 and 20 pounds. He comes up to about my knee. Alright. So he's a little guy, but he's not a super little guy. He's not like a teacup guy or anything. Alright, so, you know, he's filling in pretty decently. As we're going here. Some sections we might have to fill in a little bit more on, but we'll see what it looks like when we get everybody filled in here. Get our layers done. Like right here, I kind of feel like probably needs another little bit here. Just a little bit. Work that in there. Okay. So let's see here. And this guy works into here. So we're kind of doing this one a little differently than we did our other tree, but he also sits a little bit closer. Alright, so we do have to approach him just a little different. Definitely looks nice and frosty so far. So let's see what we can keep on going here with this guy. Alright, so this one. Alright, let me just. Oh, I pulled on that section again. Alright. Just want to kind of get this on the edge here. Alright, and then finish tapping in this section here. Oh, this traffic. Why is the traffic so loud tonight? I swear. Alright, now get another bit of fluff here. So again, I'm using acrylic yarn that there's a little bit more prep work involved with acrylic yarn. If you use roving, you can just use it like straight out of the packaging. Roving's a little expensive for my budget. I have some small amounts of roving from a like X amount of colors sample kit. They're like in tiny little like embroidery floss bags. So we have that, but we don't have very much of it. So I don't think there's quite enough to get through one of these projects. I was trying to use a little bit of it up on some of the things that we were working on for Christmas, and I did use up a couple of bags. So that was good there. But for the most part, I tend to use the acrylic yarn, and I do have a video on the YouTube channel on that Nisey Needle Felts playlist showing how I fluff the yarn. There's videos out there that you can find if you don't like my positioning or camera angles or how I'm explaining stuff, you can find it. The information is out there, but roving can be expensive. Now I've got some variegated, like blues and teals and greens and stuff in a set of roving that someone had sent me that they decided they weren't going to use. They couldn't use it for what they had planned on using it for. And so they asked me if I wanted it, if I could do something with it. So we did use a bit of that as like the inner core for some of the figurines that we made for some of the Christmas ornaments, just to get a layer wrapped around part of it, to make it a little bit easier to handle the acrylic yarn. Because you can use the acrylic yarn to do the figurines and stuff, but it doesn't like to stick to itself as well as the roving does, the wool stuff. So sometimes people will do an inner core of the roving and then do a color wrap around it for whatever color they actually want it to be with the acrylic yarn. So I mean that is an option if that's the route that you want to take. Sorry, it's a little thick. I was thinking of thinning that, but I don't know if I want it that thin. We are coming up towards the top of the tree. I'm just kind of grabbing the little tail ends that are a little all over the place. Sometimes that helps make them a little bit easier to work with. But yeah, so I mean I've got a whole bunch of like sandwich sized Ziploc bags hung up on some string that I've got tied to nails on the wall. And I have all of these bags of color in, so as I get the colors, I will give them their own bag, and I'll put the little UPC code for where they came from. I'm using 2 different brands of yarn now from 2 different places. And I'll write the color, if it's not already written, on the little UPC label. I'll tuck that in the bag. And I'm not worried about keeping the color name with the ball of yarn because I can match the color of fluff to the remaining ball of yarn. Because I will use almost all of what's in the bag, or as the bag gets low, I will then go back and refill it. But I just make sure I leave enough that I can color match to the ball of color. If I had a way, I mean, I guess I could just take the other half of the label and then tape it onto the ball, but sometimes the little remaining parts of the wrap around the skein of yarn comes off. So I don't know if it's worth that much trouble to me to make sure that the name is with the color of the what remains with the ball of yarn. Because the balls of yarn I have, as I fluff them, packed away in either some storage drawers right next to me, or I will put them in to, we have a few cats, so we have to get large amounts of cat litter, so we get the big plastic buckets, and we use those for storage for a lot of stuff because they stack pretty well and they've got handles on them and stuff. So we just make sure that all the kitty litter dust is out of there, and the inside looks like it's in good shape. And then I've been storing these smaller bits of yarn in there because the other brand of yarn that we're using from Paintbox their skeins of yarn are a little bit smaller than the big twist ones from Joann's. And the paint box yarns we've been getting from Lovecrafts. Not sponsored, not affiliated. But, you know, if you'd like to be, hit me up. But no, we're not officially sponsored or anything. But I did get a whole bunch more shades of the paint box stuff. I got the Simply Chunky in that version. The strands are a little bit thicker, so it sort of makes up for the fact that the paint box yarns are smaller in how many yards are in them compared to like the big twist value stuff. But since the strands are thicker, I can get a little bit more fluff out of them, so I get a little bit more mileage that way. Should probably put your phone on to charge.
That's good.
Alright. I will say it's getting cold in here. Alrighty, so let's try to at least get this base color in on this tree here. He's a little bit of a thick boy, so we can thinify him a little bit. There we go. So yeah, I still have quite the number of skeins still to get some fluff action happening on. And we'll get there, it's just taking me a little bit longer because it doesn't take me too long to do the fluff, but to fill a Ziploc bag to the desired fullness that I'm looking for to give me enough to work with. Might take me maybe a half an hour or so, depending on what else is going on. Whatever I'm trying to multitask while I'm doing it. Which doesn't work too well. Really hard to multitask fluffing yarn and doing something else, because you know I need my hands, so it doesn't stop me from trying, but it does get pretty tough. Alright, so yeah, I mean we can clean up that edge. It's not too bad, honestly. Alright, let's grab that little bit that we had pulled off of here. Alright, so that worked in along that edgy do. Okay. So he's getting there. He's getting there. He kind of looks like two trees stacked on top of each other, but we'll get that sorted out here shortly. Okay. So sorry I'm pulling this a little bit closer to me. But I kind of need to see this next bit. Actually, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna turn this guy sideways just a little so that I can see our upper edge here. That's what I'm trying to somewhat keep intact. So the next few of these are probably going to be sideways, or not the best angle, just because I need to see what's happening down here. Alright, let me pop him up. Alright, I will reposition him now that he is not attached to the mat. Alrighty. Yeah, I can see some stuff from this angle where I want to fill in some of those branches there. Just a little bit. Okay. So let's get this worked on in here. And we have just a little bit more to pop in. Just to fill in this gap here. That was a pretty big gap. If we're gonna be completely honest. Alright, so that guy, I could still feel the fiber pulling. I was missing some of the threads there. Like, how is this possible? Alright, so we still have to kind of put some snowies on this guy. We still have to finish in filling that spot too. Alright, so this guy I feel like needs a spot right in there. Alright. So now let's get that. Okay, it worked into there. And he's looking more like a proper tree here, as we're getting our little gaps and stuff filled in. And we probably should lift this up here in a second. Make sure we're not becoming too attached to our surface. Alright. Momo, stop! They've been getting hot spots lately, so if I hear them starting to what sounds like licking excessively, we've been trying to at least get them to take a breath so we can figure out what the heck they're licking and if it needs a bit of hotspot spray. Sometimes it does, not all of the time. Depends on how much they start obsessing with it. Alright, that's not too bad. Oh, there we go. That was a little bit rougher of a dislodge than I was looking for. But it's alright. Okay. So yeah, that's looking pretty good there. I think we're gonna stop there for tonight before we start getting involved with putting the snow on, just because I need to go find out what's going on with other things and stuff. So we will be picking this back up tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon at some point, as long as stupidness isn't happening too much. We'll start to get our snow put in on this guy, and then we have to get in our tall, branchy, trunky guy right into here, and then we'll start to put in our snowy stuff down in here. So that's the plan for tomorrow. Whether that plan comes to fruition, I don't have trouble saying that word. Fruition, whether that plan happens or not, we will see. So let's see, do we have anybody that we can go visit today? I had one person in mind, but I don't know. Okay, they are still going, I think. So yeah, so let's go see this person. Get their channel. That might have come through on desktop audio real quick. It's easier to get that in there. Let me pop this in here. Because I didn't want to misspell their name. So we'll go see Taco. And you all have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow.